people join.
Okay.
Should we start?
Yeah, let's go ahead and start. It's going to be recorded, so folks who miss any of the beginning can go back if they want.
I also think that the email that PG&E sent was really comprehensive of what our process should be. But anyway, everyone, hello, welcome. You've already been chatting with my SCE colleagues, but my name's Olivia Samad, and I'll just say thank you for attending today. And we're going to have another meet and confer on Friday, all before the PHC, which is conventionally the time that we would actually meet. So I know that people are using the chat function, but if you haven't yet, please type your name and organization in the chat so that we can be time efficient and kind of record who's here. I think everyone's aware of the purpose of this meeting. We got that ruling the week before Thanksgiving week, on kind of late on the 21st, saying that we needed to have a meet and confer and a joint statement that we file by the 9th in advance of the pre-hearing conference on the 16th. And, when we realized the timeline and the holidays, we thought, oh, we really don't have a lot of time. So we created this Microsoft form that you've hopefully seen, that we'll walk through today to capture all the information that the ALJ requested. And PG&E emailed the service list on Wednesday with a link to the form and the dates and times of the meet and confer meetings and the proposed process. So I'm just briefly going to pause there if any of the other utilities need to say anything or want to say anything, or actually if any of the parties have items they think we should talk about in this agenda. I'm going to go over the agenda and then I'll pause for a moment and let anyone else add. So the agenda for this meeting really is to go over the form that we need to complete, for the filing for the joint statement. So today, Amy Wong will walk through the form and explain kind of all the fields, and it will allow you maybe to be more efficient when you actually sit down to do it. Full confession, SCE hasn't yet done our share, like we haven't inputted our information as a party yet. So we will also be going through the process with you. On the 5th, this Friday, there'll be another meet and confer, but we'll try to review the consolidated table of responses, which is why we really need your input as soon as you can, hopefully by the close of business tomorrow at the latest. And, we'll put together the pleading. It'll just be a shell. I don't anticipate summarizing or otherwise editorializing on the input from the parties. I really want to just use the form, the words you use in the form, as an attachment to the pleading, which will say this is a joint statement pursuant to your ruling. That pleading hasn't yet been designed, but I will share that when I have it. And then, of course, we'll ask for you to please review and give your permission to file. That's something that we'll ask for on Friday. So a lot to do in a short period of time. I'm going to pause there. Like I said, today's meeting is primarily about the agenda. Today's agenda is primarily going over the form and the timeline. But Amy or Jesse or anyone else, do you think there's something else we need to talk about for this, to tee up this meeting?
I think you captured it. This is Jesse Messi. Just, Olivia did ask for when to fill out the form by tomorrow, CUB, the latest. The idea is SC will take Thursday to anything that needs to be consolidated, not editorialized or edited, but any kind of like logistical coordination would take Thursday to do that. So we have a proposed final draft for you Friday. So that's why the ask is the quick turnaround to provide your input by tomorrow end of day. So we can have Thursday to do any kind of cleanup necessary. That's the rush. Why the rush for the ask? Thanks.
Yeah, and just for the folks that just joined, we're asking everybody to put their names and their organizations in the chat so we could just capture the list of today's attendees. Thank you. Okay, is it my turn to go over the?
Yeah,
form?
unless
Perfect.
if it doesn't sound like anyone else has comments. I don't see any hands up, so.
Perfect. Okay, I will share my screen. So I've pulled up a copy of the ruling asking for this list of information, which this form is intended to capture. So I'll expand this a little bit so folks can see it a little better. It's just a PDF copy of the actual Microsoft form. So we start off with the party information, the name of your party, and if you have a short name or acronym. And then they asked for a list of who's going to be the PHC representative for your organization. They asked for their name, title, email address, and phone number. So these 4 pieces of information, anything with an asterisk is going to be a required field, but I think the required fields are pretty much mostly limited to this first page and then a couple of other questions. This information will be taken, pulled separately and put into a list and emailed, attached to the PHC joint statement, as well as provided as a list to the 2 CPUC staffers, I think, that were also listed in that ruling. So I'll start into the detailed questions. So the ALJ asked for a list of parties' positions on the scope and issues. So these various issues that are listed in the form come from the original OIR decision. So I think, these are the preliminary issues. So there's dual participation. Do you agree or disagree that that should be in scope? And then if a party had said yes, in either their opening or reply comments, then we just ask that parties cite the page, well, which comments they were, opening or reply, and then the page to which they had stated that. And if there were additional comments made, you can add them to question number 9. Since this information we're hoping will help the ALJ be used to be put into a scoping ruling or memo, we thought that it would be helpful for the judge to know whether parties thought this issue was either quasi-legislative or rate setting. So that's the purpose of the categorization question. So do you think this issue is quasi-legislative or rate setting? And then if you want to explain why you think it should be rate setting or quasi-legislative, you could add that down below. So these questions are pretty much set for all of the issues. So the issues are dual participation, the valuation methodologies and evaluation metrics. We also have the CAISO market integration topic, preliminary issue, as well as resource adequacy evaluation and slice of day implementation. And let's see and then guiding principles. So those were the main issues. Oh, and then the updates to data systems and processes. So those were the main ones that were in the initial ruling. Then the ALJ asked if parties had anticipate there to be environmental issues. So there's a section on whether parties think that there are environmental issues that should be in scope in this rulemaking, as well as social justice issues. So those are also separate questions in this form. Then we moved down to, I know a number of parties had maybe had other issues that they wanted to be scoped into this rulemaking that may not fit into one of the other preliminary issues identified above. And so this is the section that we created where parties can identify those additional or other issues here. There were some parties had multiple issues that they brought up in their comments. So they're like these like next, I think 7 or 8 questions repeat themselves like 8 times. So it allows basically up to 8 other additional issues or other issues for folks to put into this section. Are there any questions at this time? Then the final section.
Amy, there were some
yes.
questions.
Sorry.
2
Thank you.
questions.
Sorry. Hi, Luke.
Hi, Amy, can you hear me okay?
Yes, thank you.
Great. This is Luke Chugas, consultant for the California Efficiency and Demand Management Council. Regarding, I think it was question 58, I want to say, when we talk about issues, we're not talking about categories, or are we? Let me take a step back here. So, like, I think one of the kind of categories, I'll call it, or maybe it's an issue, was resource adequacy. I guess I'll just call it that. Now, in the council's opening comments, we laid out a lot of specific issues within that category. So, is the idea for us to list very briefly, all the specific issues within that category, or are we treating resource adequacy itself as an issue rather than a category?
So if it's a valuation issue or slice of day implementation, I would ask that it be put into this section on resource adequacy. So I think starting on question number 25. If it's not a valuation or slice of day implementation, and it doesn't fit into CAISO market integration, then I would say yes, put it into the other issues section.
Okay. So when in doubt, err on the side of caution, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Sure. Hi, Jane. I see your hand up.
Oh, hi. Yep. Jane from UCAN. And I just wanted to confirm the section on like environment and social justice. Let's say that UCAN feels, oh, okay, yes, this is in scope, but we as a party might not comment on it. Is that, where does that fall? You know what I mean? Like,
so you think there may be environmental issues, but you don't know at this time, like you can't specify like a specific issue that may be environmental issue. Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
So yeah, then I would say starting on number 43, you would indicate yes. And then if there's something in your opening comments or reply comments to that effect, like that said, kind of reserving the right to, comment on environmental issues, you can cite to that here. or you could also just briefly state like, you know, anything that, like, I'll just use this as an example. You know, parties' comments on prohibited resources, we consider potentially as environmental issues. So we think that that should, those would be here, something to that effect. Hopefully that makes sense.
Sure. Yeah, that's helpful. Yeah, that gave me some ideas right there. So great. Thank you so much.
Sure. Hi, Roger.
Hey, Amy, quick question. I am looking at the link, the form link, and is there a way that I can print to get the PDF version that you're sharing? To me, it is helpful to have all the questions listed because I might be, before I start filling in the form. Is there a way to do that?
So I would say maybe use the Word document that was attached last week.
Okay.
To like,
okay, I missed the Word
to
document.
put in your, yeah, to use that as like your drafting of your responses first before you, and then you could just copy and paste that into the
Perfect. I jumped the gun and I went straight to the link, but thank
no
you.
worries. All good. Hi, Olivia. I see your hand up.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, we're going to have a lot of gray areas. Like, when I think about how to answer some of these questions, I don't necessarily know. And we confessed that SE hasn't actually filled this out yet. We just went off the ALJ's ruling and thought we got to get something out there. I think the main guiding principle, at least for me, as I fill out this form with my team, is thinking through what would be most helpful for the ALJ. Because really that's what we're doing, is trying to collect, I think, for the ALJ, what might be live issues that maybe we haven't distilled as separate issues or whatever. And of course, the commission's interest in environmental and social justice issues is, I think, a requirement in every proceeding now. So I guess my inclination for an answer to that, and you do not have to do what I'm going to do, is to say that we don't have any at this time, because we don't have a specific, if we don't have a specific issue, I'm not going to say, well, there might be this specific issue that we might want to talk about. I would rather, if there is a party that has a specific issue that's known, name it. And then at the PHC, we'll have the opportunity to discuss it. But I think for me right now, I'm going to stay focused and grounded in what SCE considers a live issue and put that forward. That's how I think I'm going to approach these questions.
Thank you, Olivia. David Gibbs.
Hey, good morning, all. And this is just a kind of a clarification question. And this is Roger's question triggered this. The request is then that we fill out the form on the link provided, not fill out the Word doc and then send that back to PG&E or to the utilities, correct?
Correct. So the Word document was just intended if folks like on this call didn't like this format for whatever reason, right? Or felt that a question should be worded a different way within that, is to like use the Word document as a means to redline, if you will, and then, if needed, I could update the actual form. But yeah, because I don't think I can give everybody access to the form, and I think we would just also like version control, I think would want to limit it. But if, yeah, folks think that maybe we should add a question, I ask parties to use that Word document and use the redlining function to either add questions or something like that you feel like this form doesn't address what's being asked in the ruling.
Great, that makes sense. I appreciate the clarification. Thank you.
Sure, no problem. But also the Word document can be used as Roger brought up, like a way to kind of pre-draft your responses, and then if there's other people within your organization that you want to go over with it before you actually put it into the online form. I do believe I put in the setting though in the online form that you can change your answers up until the due date, which is close of business tomorrow, Wednesday.
Okay. Good. Thanks.
Sure. Good questions. Olivia, did you want to say something?
Oh, mainly that, you brought up, we wanted to share the questions the way we did in the Word document for feedback, but really if anyone has feedback, the end of this meeting is the time by which we need that feedback so that everyone can get to work on filling out the form. So please, as we go over it, if you have something that gives you heartburn, let us know. But if you can live with it, please try to live with it because it's a short turnaround.
So I'll go to, and then the very last section was also, these are required fields because I believe, the ALJ asked these specific ones. Do parties agree with the preliminary schedule? We didn't want to just make it a yes, no. There may be parts that people agree with and parts that they don't. So then there's a partial agree or disagree. And then parties can explain what portions they either agree or disagree with. And then do parties want evidentiary hearings? Again, that is a required field, and as well as will parties file a motion. So that is the end of the form. Sorry, I know it says 118 questions. It's a lot, but I do think that the ALJ asked for a lot of information, and so we did our best here to capture that. Once everybody fills out the form, thanks to Microsoft, there is an export function. So once I have all the responses, I will export that into Excel, and then we will go over those responses on Friday. So the final work product will be the joint statement, as Olivia had noted, just kind of saying like, here's what you asked for, please see the attached. The first attachment will be a table of the responses to just the yes, no, like the yes, no questions or agree or disagree questions, not the detailed responses, so that the ALJ can just have a cheat sheet, if you will, of all the parties' positions on the different responses. Then we will attach each party's detailed responses. So I will export these to probably, I'll either PDF them or a Word document, whatever's going to, again, be more useful for the ALJ, where they can hopefully highlight and copy and paste it if they need to. But so assuming all 33 or 34 parties to this proceeding fill this out, there will be 19 times 33. So sorry, I can't do that math that quickly in my head, but there'll be that many pages attached to in that section. And then as well as the list of all the PHC representatives that will be emailed to the CPUC staff that were identified in the ruling, as well as will be attached to this joint statement. And I think that's all I've got. Any questions or Roger?
Hey, Amy, I just want to make sure for the benefit of the entire group, like we understand the process. So by the end of business tomorrow, Wednesday, parties will submit the forms. Then on Thursday, your team will take care of of extracting information or compiling the master form response, that will be sent to all parties either by end of business Thursday
That's
or
correct.
early, or okay, end of business Thursday. So then the meeting Confer, the next session on Friday is really going to be just so that everyone will have had the opportunity to review the master document, make sure their responses were captured correctly, and if there's any issues to flag them there, so we can say, hey, you know what, I put a response to 117, it's not in there, we can flag it and address it. But Friday is not going to be like, we're not going to be arguing over responses. It's just really just to help us navigate the process and make sure everybody's inputs got captured correctly.
That is
That sound
correct. Thank
correct?
you. Yes, thank you, Roger. Yeah, I will not be making any edits to, so if there are misspellings or anything like that, like that's the way that it will be sent. Unless it's, corrected after Friday, by Friday. But next Tuesday when we file the joint statement, like what's in there is what will be attached. Jesse, or Olivia, do you want to close it out, I guess?
Great job, Amy. Any final questions for anybody else? I'd say if you run into form issues, Amy or myself, both of us can be your primary contact if there's kind of like technical issues. We'll call it. We're not technical pros, but we'll try to help you out if you're running into issues with that on that end.
And we'll commit to sharing the pleading before the Friday meeting. So that's actually one other item that we can finalize. My wonderful assistant she started creating the shell for it, and she was like, how many parties do need to be in this caption? And I told her, we're not going to try to do that. We'll just SCE will file on everyone's behalf who gives us permission to file on your behalf. So we'll try to catalog all of that by Friday so that it's clear and we get sign-offs. Like I said, I'm envisioning a pretty, not a lot of editorial, just explaining the process we went through and what the attachments are. It's kind of what I'm envisioning at this point. Great. Any other questions or anything else?
This is Jane from UCAN. I just think you did a great job. Thank you very much.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Thank you, SCE. Thank you, Amy, for organizing all of this forum.
My pleasure. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Have a great day. And yeah, if you have any issues with the forum, please reach out to myself or Jesse. Appreciate it. Have a great day.
Thank you all.
Yeah.
Thank you.